What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know, at the end of my favorite DreamWorks quotes video, I decided to sort of announce that I decided to do a Q&A video. So all you had to do was just leave a question in the comment section of that specific video and you would immediately be entered into the Q&A video. Now, it's been around 2 to 3 weeks and surprisingly I didn't get that many questions. But nevertheless, I am going to answer the few questions that I did get for that video. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so for our first question, Epic Nerf Jets Videos asks, are you still into cubing and can you do a Disney quote video? For those channels who ask multiple questions, I'm gonna answer one at a time. Am I still into cubing? Sort of. I still do have my cube collection in the corner of my sort of studio where I edit my videos, and I do sometimes grab one of my puzzles and just fiddle around with it and give it a bit of a solve and a scramble from time to time, but I'm not very serious about it. And as you may have noticed, I'm not into making cubing videos anymore. So if you want cubing videos out of me, you're better off watching the old ones that I've already made. So, sort of, but I really am more into movies, and I just want to sort of express my passion for films, and that's the point of this channel. So, in a way, short answer, sort of. And as for your second question, am I going to do a Disney quote video? Now, that is a rather confusing one, considering Disney has made a whole bunch of live action films, hand-drawn to traditional films, and CG films, and so plus there's so many. Like, the idea of doing like Disney, it's rather intimidating because there are just so many, but at the same time I almost think that that's actually a pretty good idea. Like, I could have my little animated quote trilogy, my favorite Pixar quotes, DreamWorks quotes, and Disney quotes. But first, if I was to do Disney, I want to redo my Pixar ones, since my Pixar ones are on my other channel. So I might redo my Pixar ones, and I'll probably do Disney. I'll just probably do a select few because there are just so many, and I want to keep the video under 10 minutes long. So it's a possibility, in short. Alright, next question. The Dragon Critic asks, are you excited for Kung Fu Panda 3 and How to Train Your Dragon 3? Yes, I am. I am rather intrigued to see Kung Fu Panda 3 because of how the second movie ended, and I heard good things about it. Really, really good things about it, in fact. And as for How to Train Your Dragon 2, that movie ended off at a cliffhanger as well. And so I'm really interested to see where the direction of Hiccup, Toothless, and all the other characters in that movie will go. I'm really interested to seeing that direction. So I'm also excited for How to Train Your Dragon 3. As for Kung Fu Panda 3, while I am kind of intrigued to see it, I will just say that I'm intrigued. I'm not exactly excited for Kung Fu Panda 3, I'm just intrigued to see it. And my more anticipated movies of 2016 are really the Jumanji remake and Allegiant. And maybe a couple, and Finding Dory. That's another one I'm interested in seeing, Finding Dory. Those are really my anticipated movies of the year, and Kung Fu Panda 3 can be added to the list. I just wouldn't say excited. I think that might be a strong word, but I'm intrigued. I want to see it, yes. Ryan Sheehan asks, sorry if I said that wrong, what started your love for movies, and what is your favorite movie or movies? Excellent questions. Let me ask the second one first. My favorite movies, because what started my passion for films is a rather long answer. But what are my favorite movies? I've made it extremely obvious that Inside Out is my favorite movie of all time. So I want to sort of go over some of my other movies that I absolutely love. I really enjoyed the movie Divergent and Die Hard and some of those other movies. But some of my absolute favorite movies that one of those movies where I just sit down, watch it, and it reminds me why I love movies. I would say that some of my favorite movies of all time are Terminator 2 Judgment Day and Speed. Love those movies. Terminator 2 Judgment Day is honestly my second favorite film of all time. A couple of other movies I really like are Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Some other anime films I love are Coraline and The Road to El Dorado. Very underrated films, actually. Not many people talk about them. But some of these movies I'm actually planning on reviewing. My plan for 2016, for maybe the next couple of months, are to review some of my favorite movies and quite possibly some of my worst movies. Some movies that I truly despise. And so that's sort of my aim, especially since I can't afford to go to the cinemas that often, which is annoying since I'm a film enthusiast. But but those are some of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm planning on reviewing some of those movies to explain why I like them. Starting with Speed. Expect a review for the movie Speed very soon. And for the last question for the video, what started my passion for filmmaking, like what started my passion for movies, it's various other things. I've actually been a fan of movies kind of all my life, but there's lots of little bits and pieces that sort of shaped me into who I am today. I think the real Kickstarter is that I've been a fan of doing movies, and like I've been a fan of making homemade movies and all this stuff for actually more than half of my life. And it all started off like a bunch of years ago where I noticed that my mother was using a very interesting software and putting little video clips together, and it looked very interesting. And I didn't know anything about the software at the time, but I do now know that the software was Sony Vegas 7. And one day I was asked if I wanted to sort of like a movie for this homeschool convention thing, and that was an option I could do. So I decided to go ahead and give it a try, and I had so much fun with it, even though it was just a slideshow and I needed a lot of help with it. It was practically done for me, and it was basically a slideshow, but I still think I was pretty proud of it because I thought that was a lot of fun. I wanted to do more. And so I started borrowing her camera and I started making little short films. My earlier films were absolutely terrible. Like, I sometimes watch my older short films and I can't even sit through all of it or just skip some of it because it's just really bad writing. But eventually, my parents got me my own camera, and so from that point on, I've always been using my camera and tripod to shoot short films, and so I've made many different short movies. My modern ones are a lot better than others, even though for lots of privacy reasons I can't upload any of them, unfortunately. So if I was to upload any short films, it would have to be short films that I am thinking about making that haven't done yet. So don't ask me about posting my short films because that's basically your answer. And that's what got me into filmmaking. And then eventually I started running into YouTube movie reviews. Like I ran into Sam's channel at first and I saw some of his movie reviews, especially his Spider-Man reviews. And I thought that was rather interesting and I got intrigued in the idea of sharing the thoughts. And then a while later I ran into the YouTuber Chris Duckman, who is now currently my by far favorite YouTuber of all time. And the fact that he has such a mature opinion on movies, and he basically reminded me, because he has a very similar history slash past as I am, and he helped me realize that I actually have a passion for movies. And so I've always loved movies, but Chris Duckman just reminded me, like showed me that I loved movies a lot more than I thought. And I think another reason that's why I'm so into movies is because I actually have autism, which is basically an aspect where my brain processes things differently. And a part of that is that it allows me to be a more visual person. So I'm more likely to be educated by visual things. And I think that's where the movies come in. And I love looking at movies as if it's art. Almost every day I try to educate myself more on movie making, and my ultimate goal in life is to somehow end up in the film industry, whether it's directing or acting or something like that. And so that is what got me into filmmaking, and that's basically what started my passion for movies. So bits of little other bits and pieces here and there. And so mainly Chris Duckman and Sam's channel, those kinds of people have sort of got me into the idea of sharing my opinions on movies. And so eventually I got my own channel, and the more we go along, the more passionate I get about films, and the more I just want to spread my word about how much I love movies, and I just want to end up in the film industry, but I also want to join the big conversation about movies, and that's basically why I do this, because I love movies, and the story I just told you is basically why. And so I hope you're able to follow all that, but that's basically in a nutshell what started my love for movies, why I love making movies, or why I love watching movies, and why I love reviewing movies. And that's basically all of the questions. If you want me to do another Q&A, then just leave maybe a bunch of other questions in the comments, and if I get like a X amount of questions, I might do another one. I'm not too sure. It depends on how well this one goes. But that is my first Q&A, and if you enjoyed it, then, well, thank you, and thank you for enjoying my video. My next two reviews will be the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, as well as the Keanu Reeves action movie Speed. Again, one of my favorite films of all time, and I can't wait to bring my review for that movie for you guys. I'm not sure which one of those reviews is going to be up first, but I guarantee you my next video will be one of those two reviews. But until then, hasta la vista, baby.